right. So now that you recognize that you're dissociating when it comes to your working your job and your career, how can you work on being more present, right? Yeah. And there's people out there who'll be like, oh, make a pro and a con list on your job, the things you like, the things that you don't. Yeah, that's like step 18. Step 1. When you log in to work, if you work at a desk job or wherever you work, get you a little post-it note, a little piece of paper, a little pen, right? And every time you feel uncomfortable, just uncomfortable at work, make a little line. Then, every time you daydream or disconnect or just not work, make a little check. Now, when you see these check marks at the end of the day, here's where the work starts. Do not shame yourself. Do not be like, holy fuck, there's like 65 fucking marks on here. I don't work. Don't do that to yourself. Fuck that job. Okay? Fuck that job. They'll be okay, I promise. They ain't complaining and they ain't figured it out, because if they had, you wouldn't have been there. So you're good. This isn't to shame yourself on the lack of work. This is for you to identify just how much you're not present in your day because you're that uncomfortable being there. The first step is really just to sit in that, right? Just sit in it. Just acknowledge that. Do this exercise for like a week or two and see how many check marks there are. And don't try to stop yourself from making check marks. Don't be like, oh shit, you're not paying attention. Focus, get some work done. Because again, this is not an exercise to redesign yourself as a worker bee, because you're not a worker bee. This is an exercise to identify when you feel uncomfortable and you drift away and run away from those uncomfortable feelings rather than sitting in them. Because now, once you feel them, you can identify that they're there and sit with them more. Why am I uncomfortable? That is the next step. Are you uncomfortable because they gave you an unreasonable deadline? Are you uncomfortable because you don't like the type of work they just gave you? Are you uncomfortable because you really dream of doing something else? And that's when you drift off. You think about that. Are you uncomfortable because you're just fucking tired? You're exhausted by this job. That comes after the 2 weeks of making the checks, okay? It's a process, babies.